Tonight on Debate, discussing some of the Olympic Games, some MLB news and retirements, Tim Tebow, Trent Richardson, and more, starting now.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the interweb. This is Debates Among Friends live on Mixlr. Like us on our Facebook page at Debates Among Friends. Tonight is the 14th edition of this podcast, and we're glad you decided to join us on this Wednesday evening. I am known as the Professor, and I am like a lightweight boxer. I keep my guard up and throw haymakers of facts. Joining me is our resident PhD of controversy, the Doctor, keeping the prescriptions flowing and the mood ever going. He's like that kid who's scaling the Trump Towers. Doctor just does things. How you doing?
Professor Plums, how are you doing this evening, sir?
You know, it's been quite the week.
Yes.
I mean, we just got finished seeing a game end, and we're going to get into that. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first guest of all time for Debates Among Friends. He likes to strike you out on the field, but he hits home runs in your hearts. All the way from the mean streets of Jersey City, New Jersey,
Woo!
We have Mr. Knapp.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much for that warm introduction.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to talk about, his name is Mr. Make the Women Scream as They Cream. Knapp.
Listen. Don't be giving out my secrets from college, dude.
Oh, goodness. So, gentlemen, we have just seen the final score of the U.S. versus Australia game in Rio 2016. The U.S. men's team barely held on for a 10-point victory. So, I'm going to start off by this. Is it really hanging on to a victory if they won by 10? I mean, isn't that normally just the average NBA final score?
I would say that it is average because most likely those last 5 or 6 points might have been free throws when you really think about it. Of course, I didn't see the game because I was driving home from work, but most of the time that is free throws. When you're fouling, trying to get in the game, especially if you could try to get your hands on DeAndre Jordan. Oh, God. You understand, you got a chance if DeAndre's at the line.
Well, I watched the end of it after I got home from work, and while the final score definitely indicates a typical average NBA score, the Australia definitely gave the United States all they could handle. They forced a lot of turnovers towards the end of the game. Even with about 2 or 3 minutes left, Australia was within about 4 points, 3 points. Mm-hmm. So, while I agree that it definitely was a typical NBA score, Australia definitely was given a lot of problems to the U.S. men. But the U.S. men, they made their foul shots. They cut down on the turnovers, and they were able to secure a well-deserved victory.
Absolutely. I definitely would credit, Carmelo Anthony with a clutch 3-point shot heading towards the end of the game. I mean,
it'd be nice if you could start doing that for the Knicks.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Don't you go there with that. Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Don't you go there with that.
Oh, man.
Now we got to talk about all of
Mr.
them.
Nets, how your Nets doing last year? How did your Nets do last year?
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't say my guys were studs. I'm just calling it like I see it. Listen, they were supposed to move from Jersey to Brooklyn, and there's supposed to be a whole change. It's the same bag of crap, just in a different wrapping.
It's only 1 year that we saw the change, Mr. Knapp. Only one.
The only change was Jersey.
That was it.
I definitely agree. But the one thing I will say is that during my stay in Texas and then my retreat back to North Carolina, the one thing I heard was Greg Anthony get on the TV screen and say USA basketball team was going to beat every team in this Olympics by a minimum, gentlemen, a minimum of 28 points.
Oh, well.
So Australia had to say, they must have heard that and said, 28. Okay, I will raise you 18 on this one.
Well, they said during the game that it was the first time the USA had been behind at the half since 2004.
2004, yes.
Wow.
But does that call into question now the high expectation that we have for our U.S. men's basketball team
Well,
to completely demolish people?
This is tier
Granted,
2. This is almost tier 2 here. This is tier 2.
I don't know if it's so much.
This is the JV squad.
Not JV, but this is tier 2 superstar. I mean, some of them are tier 1.
It's still JV.
But, I mean, I wouldn't say.
But doctor.
See, you put Carmelo. You put Carmelo in JV. Don't put Carmelo in JV. That's your guy.
I'm not trying to do that because you just said it.
It's tier 2.
Oh, goodness.
They ask people.
Carmelo, I know you're a fan of the show. Don't hate me, please. Don't make an Achilles injury. I'm just saying.
Hey,
that's Derrick Rose's job.
I'm just saying. Oh, my God. I can't believe you went there. They call him Mr. Glass.
They call him Mr. Glass.
What's the over-under on how long he lasts in the first couple of months of the season?
About 30 games.
30 games, okay.
I'll give it.
Getting back to what you were talking about, I don't know if it's so much an indictment on the expectations we have as the men on the men's team as much as it may be the talent level. I mean, greatness always inspires more competition. So, you have to take into account that maybe these other countries are really taking or have been taking men's basketball very seriously. So they've been really focused on their programs and putting teams together that can definitely compete with without question, the greatest basketball country being the United States. And I mean, I think you're going to see that more and more.
I agree with that.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. I mean, let's put it into retrospect, though. I mean, Croatia beat Spain.
Right.
I think Spain is getting a little old. I mean, when you think about it.
Well, did Paul play?
I mean, even if he didn't,
most
of those players are.
I mean, they still got Mark.
Yeah, but even Mark's getting old.
Mm-hmm.
He is getting. Well, it's not the fact that he's getting old. I think it's more of that he's getting more plagued by injuries.
No, he's getting old.
It's really not the issue.
He's getting old. He's getting old, sir. I mean, it's not just the beard, because I mean, I feel like Paul had a beard since he was with the previous team before the Lakers. You know what I mean? He had a beard, so it's not the beard.
You mean the same team that his brother's on?
Yeah, exactly. And I was gonna go there, but I couldn't remember if they switched the names and all other stuff. But the problem is that these teams are getting older, while the USA team, at certain spots, being that this is especially tier 2, because the first tier said no, not going there. Melo was like yes, you know what I mean? So they had to ask more people than they normally do, which is the only reason I'm saying tier 2. But this is supposed to be the best players in the world, and I have to say that other teams or other countries have to be excited and can go to sleep knowing that they don't have to play against LeBron James. They don't have to play against Anthony Davis is not out there. James Harden's not out there. I mean, they got to be extremely happy. Steph Curry's not out there. I mean, come on.
Absolutely. That's a valid point.
They're playing against the Harrison Barneses of the world, which the professor. I mean, how do you feel about that Harrison Barnes guy? You know how you feel. You know exactly how you feel.
I know exactly how I felt because I stated this, and you can check the tapes, ladies and gentlemen. I've stated that Harrison Barnes is not a max contract player. I felt like that he was overhyped heading towards the free agency because, for me,
James.
Oh, Dr. Flynn. For me, it's not about what you do for one playoff series. If you make it to the finals, that's when you come out to play. That's when you go out there, you make that money.
But they can go back.
Harrison Barnes, they left Harrison Barnes open so many times.
Yep. But they can go
during the finals.
They can go back into the tapes and listen to that one. I mean, we got a great show. Because all we'll do is go back into it and debate for 10, 15 minutes about the Jerome Jameses of the world. And then,
Doctor, don't you sit there and try to tear my old Space Mountain down.
I'm just saying, sometimes Space Mountain has to be torn down to build it back up.
This is true. This is true.
But, I mean, moving on, this is the first show we got a guest, and this particular guest, Mr. October himself, Mr. Knapp, is going to drop down some MLB news. We got a lot of retirements out here. What is going on with the MLB right now?
So far, we had 3 retirements happening, 2 with myself and Mr. October's New York Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one just happened, well, pretty much today.
And nobody. You also got to keep in mind that Poppy's retiring this year too.
And
Yeah,
Poppy's
that's true.
retiring.
See, this is a lot of baseball going out.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you combine all their stats, I mean, holy crap! I mean, if you could put all four of those guys into one player, you'd have the best. Yeah, exactly. You'd have the best of all time. So I mean, you have guys
you would have LeBron James back in like 2009 to 2012.
Dude, you'd have LeBron James mixed with Michael Jordan, mixed with Dr. J in one person. I mean, you have a Gold Glove first baseman that usually hits for power. You have A-Rod, regardless of how you think of him, with the performance-enhancing drugs and all that. The sin of him is he didn't need it. He was great, didn't need to take it, got greedy, and even if he didn't take it, he would have gone down as one of the best.
It's funny that you mentioned that, though, because they was talking about that, and one of the things that kind of hit home was maybe the expectation for him to do more led to him to using those PEDs a lot more to meet those higher expectations. Because you just said it yourself, he was great.
Oh, yeah.
But because he signed those big money contracts when he was still with the Texans, and then when he signed with our Yankees, especially when he went to the Yankees, hey, we want you to take over this team. We want you to be the man.
Right. And
you see what we have here? You see all these championships right here? We want more. You're the person who needs to lead us to it.
And he came, and you have to remember, he came of age in an era where steroid use was still allowed. So
absolutely. Just
like all of us, our formative years play a big impact on what we do and our behavior. I mean, don't be wrong. A person's decision is their decision alone, but your upbringing and your coming of age all influences your decisions down the road. That being said, I agree. I think part of it was selfishness. I mean, he thought very highly of himself, always did. I mean, and if you're gonna wear the title as one of the best players of all time, you're also gonna have an ego. If you do anything and you do it well, it's impossible for you not to have somewhat of an ego. So I think it's a combination of both. I think he put a lot of pressure on himself, but I also think his ego kind of got the better of him, and he got really humbled. I mean, and we see this time and time again. People that get caught using performance-enhancing drugs. I mean, and just people that get caught in lies in general. I mean, look at politicians. They usually come out on the other side of it. They usually come on the other side of it very humbled and very. It's almost like it's like an outer body experience. They look back at themselves and they go, "Oh my God, what was I doing?" So. What I've said about A-Rod to my friends, because I have friends that are Mets fans, Red Sox fans, and I always say, regardless if you love him or hate him, he was one of the most consequential players of the late 20th, early 21st century. I mean, you just say the name A-Rod and it elicits a reaction, whether it be positive, or you feel sorry for the guy, or you hate him, one or the other.
I mean, but think about it, though. I mean, we're talking 3 seasons of him using PEDs.
Absolutely, at least that we know of.
I mean, minus those, he still has a Hall of Fame career.
But now he gets that asterisk, and that's the thing that always sucks.
Yeah, but to be honest,
but it's not as big of an asterisk as like a Barry Bonds, or a Sammy Sosa or a Mark McGwire.
I thought Sammy was the worst because Sammy was like really, really, really thin. Barry Bonds was really thin.
I was about to say Barry Bonds was really thin.
But Barry was
off season. He comes back and
but Barry was.
Barry turned into Debo.
He was burying those balls though before the PED.
He was.
Sammy, I mean, again, I wasn't always a baseball guy, but Sammy wasn't crushing them like Barry was. Mark kind of came out of nowhere. He should have just eased down a little bit, and maybe if he was juicing at 10, he should have juiced maybe at 3. To work his way up to that 10, because he came out just destroying balls that year. Him and Sosa were going after each other, but I agree. A-Rod didn't have to do that. And if it was an honest mistake, like we talked in the past about NFL guys going across overseas and eating Mexican food and coming back, and hey, you've been taking PEDs. No, I ate a steak in Mexico.
Right.
Makes sense.
That had hormones in it.
Right, but A-Rod was getting
shout outs to Roger Goodell for his great, decision making right there.
Roger Goodell. But if you go and purposely, inject your body with it, knowing that you're going to potentially get caught, I mean, you deserve what you get. I mean, that's it.
Well,
Exactly.
that's the old saying. You made your bed, now you got to sleep in it.
Yeah,
And
Perfect.
and to be honest with you, I mean, I think it was a wake up call. I mean, last season, A-Rod had a season that nobody expected him to have,
right.
and
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up because everyone was surprised
and
and believed that he could have done what he done.
right. And as soon as he started doing it, people automatically assumed, oh, he's got to be taking something, and that leads me to two points I'll make real quick. One is that now, unfortunately, from now on until we ever, which I don't think we ever will, there's been cheating in sports going all the way back to human history. This isn't a new thing. I on a side note, I always find it funny when people were outraged that, oh my God, these guys are taking steroids. I'm like, yeah, were you outraged? Were people outraged in the 30s and the 20s when pitchers were altering the ball and making the ball do completely unnatural movements? No, those guys are in the Hall of Fame. What about the guys that took greenies that they used to be in the training rooms like candy, which we basically basically greenies were Adderall.
Yep.
They just made you hyper focused. This is the 21st century version of that. But the sin of all this is that from now on, it seems like any young player that's coming up, and if they're doing like ungodly things, I mean, just things that you're just in awe of, there's gonna be that seed of doubt in your head. Well, is that kid taking something? Or is he doing something?
Isn't there a pitcher that's getting that same kind of treatment this year though? I think he's with the White Sox.
Yeah.
Like he's like having a crazy season. And the first thing that came up to the mind is he might be using something. He might be taking some kind of performance enhancers.
Right.
Because like I think he was like 10-0 in his first 10 starts, or like 15-0 in his first 15 starts.
Oh my God, Chris Sale. Chris Sale.
There you go.
Yeah, the White Sox.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the other part of this is that I'm not gonna give the guy's name, but when I was working at a gym for a while before I started my career, I was managing a gym, and one of the members of the gym was a former baseball player, and he told me, he said there's guys in the Hall of Fame that took them. He goes, I played with them. He goes there are guys that took them, and he goes now for a guy like Barry Bonds, it just turns, if he was going to hit a triple, into a home run, because the steroids doesn't improve your eye-hand coordination. It just makes you hit the ball with a little more velocity and a little more power. Yeah. You still have to have that natural ability that only 1% of all people that play the game throughout the country and the world have.
Agreed.
And so, but steroids do take a guy that maybe is a borderline, a lifetime AAA player that's about as good as he's ever going to be, and maybe, thrusts him into Major League Baseball.
Absolutely.
So steroids do that. But I think that this is all just gonna eventually, just with time, it's these guys are gonna get in. It's not gonna be so much like Pete Rose, where Pete Rose, I mean, he literally could have had influence on the outcome of games.
Absolutely.
Not just through the use of his ability, but his use of maybe in certain situations to use his ability or to miss a play. That's a little different, but I do think in retrospect, as hindsight becomes more and more prevalent on the steroid era, I think it might soften. I think some of these guys will get in. Maybe not somebody like A-Rod. Maybe there'll be a degree of, all right, if you lied or you had people lose their jobs, like Ryan Braun did, where he blamed it on the tester, and that guy lost his job for accusing him of mishandling the sample. Maybe those guys don't get in because they went through such extraordinary lengths. I think a guy like Andy Pettitte, I think he will. Not because I'm a Yankee fan, but because he literally came out and said, he goes, I used it. I had Tommy John surgery, and I used it. At the time, it wasn't illegal. I didn't use it to play, according to him, what he says. But, I think it's just one of these things. Nowadays, everybody likes to be outraged. Everybody likes to be outraged or insulted or, oh, my God, how could you do that to me as a fan? It's like, dude, let's be honest. There are good guys in sports. Yeah. There's also a lot of bad guys. They could care less about the fans, what the fans think. They're there to make the money. They're there to, they're there to enhance their brand. So.
I completely agree with you. And it's funny that you mentioned that, and I actually have two follow-up questions for you. Mr. October.
Ah.
But it's funny that you mentioned that because it's one of the things, it's one of the ongoing subjects that myself and the doctor have, where it doesn't matter if a player cheats for fans.
Mm.
If a player cheats and you win the title, they really don't care.
Right.
But if a player cheats and you don't make the playoffs, they're gonna care pretty big.
And
If a player cheats and you're a lottery team, you darn sure know they're gonna care about that.
Right, and the fans seem to be more forgiving if you come straight out with it and just say, "Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Mea culpa.
Absolutely.
Mea culpa. It was my fault. My bad." The fans really, and I mean, and that's us too. I mean, you know, we don't have a lot of tolerance for if you keep lying to us, but all the evidence really points to that you did, but you keep playing us for a fool. You know, it's like we're like a jilted lover. It's like, no, don't tell me you weren't cheating on me. I know you were. So just be honest with me. I have more respect for you if you do. Don't keep lying to me and say you didn't when I know you did. I got the text messages.
For real, I see you. I see you.
Yeah, I saw you at the movies with this guy. Stop lying to me.
Yeah,
you know, so the fans get that type of a feeling. So I agree.
No,
I don't know why I had like a casino moment in my head right now.
I saw you. Good call in the casino.
Well, I mean, the one thing that I'm gonna miss, because the one guy that I personally have always enjoyed, and it's not because of the personal, hey, you might look like that guy, is David Ortiz, Big Papi himself. I mean, and I used to watch baseball at my uncle's house in Jersey City. You know, he would always watch the
Shout out to Jersey City, by the way.
He would always watch the Yankees. He's a Yankees fan, and of course, whenever the Yankees are on, you always have that possibility that they're going to be playing the Red Sox.
Like tonight, they're actually playing the Red Sox tonight.
Exactly. It always seems to pop.
How ironic!
Yeah, it always seems to pop up. And
it's actually it's 0-0 right now.
No, actually, I turned the game on, Professor. It's actually 2-0 Red Sox, unfortunately.
Uh-oh.
So unfortunately, Facebook has now let the professor down again.
Right.
You gotta keep a TV in the studio, man. You gotta get that FiOS in there, that cable, whatever you're using.
You know, I mean, I was talking to my cable provider and I said I need monitors all over the place. They said, Professor, that's gonna cost too much. I said, I don't care. Money's not an object. Do you know who I am? I have a podcast called Debates Among Friends. Yes. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Get up there and get my TVs.
But Big Papi, though, he's always been one of those guys that I've always followed. You know, I don't have a team in baseball. You know, when I was younger, I did like the Indians. I always loved the whole Kenny Lofton, you know, that group of guys that they had. But I was never a fan.
Ramirez.
Yeah, Manny Ramirez, exactly. I've always been a Big Papi fan. You know, and whenever he steps up to the plate, I always feel like he's gonna knock one out of the park. I just always have that feeling, and it's always been, you know, it's gonna be something crazy to not see him in that Boston uniform. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
And it's funny that you mentioned that. And let me get through these two questions first before we go into the other 2016 retirements, and we can move on. The two questions I have for you, Mr. Knapp.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
A, Debates Among Friends, we like to speak to the people because people like to know. And we'd like to give the stats. So, Mr. Knapp, what the people want to know, the people desire, they want to know is, in your opinion, what percentage of baseball players still use PEDs?
That's a good question. And I'll base my answer off what somebody told me. Well, not somebody told me. I mean, somebody told me that my friend that was a former major leaguer that when I worked at the gym that he, I'm sure he still goes there. And also what somebody else had said at the time, another major leaguer, I forget who, but they said that the reason Melky got caught was because he just there's a drug that you take that masks the steroid. So you take the steroid, and then you take something else that masks it, that fools the test. And he basically said the reason Melky got caught was he forgot to take what masks it. He got careless. That's why he got caught. Stupid. So it goes to the whole saying that, you know, someone's always going to try and build a better mousetrap. So baseball can come down. Baseball's testing, which is the strictest in all of pro sports, can come up with almost a foolproof test. And there's some guy in a lab somewhere for a drug company that's trying to figure out a way to mask it. So that being said, I would probably say I'd say it's less than half because you've started to see where the pitchers have become dominant again, and offense has diminished. So the testing is working. But then somebody can make the argument, well, that means the pitchers are taking something. It's that argument. That argument can go back and forth. It's like Han Solo and Greedo, who shot first. It's
It was me.
Right, exactly.
It was the professor. Debate solved. It was me. I popped off first.
That guy right there.
Not to ad-lib, but Didi Gregorius just hit a home run into the bullpen in Fenway. So now the Yankees only trail 2-1.
Oh, really?
There we go.
So that being said, I think it's less than half probably still use it. And I think, to be honest with you, I think it's less and less of the stars because I think a lot of stars care about their legacy. Guys like Melky, I don't think cares about his legacy because you know why? He got caught with the Giants, and guess what? He still got a crazy contract by the Blue Jays.
This is true.
I mean, he's a good player.
We
don't. And the thing is,
we're gonna keep going though.
Yeah, we don't know how long.
We're actually gonna.
That's the crazy part.
We're gonna keep on going because we're gonna keep talking about this throughout the whole show.
So yeah, just to put a bow on it, I think it's less than half.
Got it. Thank you very much.
No problem.
The second question I have is: you mentioned Pete Rose, and all this talk about him being banned for life for the Hall of Fame. Do you believe he should be in the Hall of Fame?
That's a good question.
You know why? Because the people, they're talking in my ears right now. And they're saying, Mr. October, Mr. Knapp, we want to know. Professor, ask him those questions because you like to ask those hard questions.
We want to know.
Does he deserve to get that pass to get into the Hall of Fame?
Oh, that's tough. And that's tough for anybody, I think, our age, to be honest with you, to answer. Because you know why? We didn't see Pete Rose. We came after his era. And if you talk to people like our parents' age, they'll tell you Pete Rose is one of the best hitters of all time, if not the best. And he was just tenacious. He'd run through his own mother if he had to get to home plate. I mean, he was just a tough SOB.
Absolutely.
And so, I don't know. Me personally, I think he should be allowed in. It's one of those things like you serve your time, you take your lashes and all that. I mean, you get beaten up by the public and the baseball people for so long. And I do believe that, and don't quote me, but I do believe that when it came up for appeal for him to, because he's been appealing forever, to let him in.
I'm sorry, the doctor had a look on his face like, you should understand that the Base Among Friends will quote everything.
Quoting you on everything.
But we're not going to do that.
That guy right over there, that professor guy, he's quoting you right now.
It's going to be a transcript of this audio.
Mr. October said, don't quote him on this, but...
we're going to do it anyway.
But it seems like I've said about the steroids, I think it might soften because you've had people that are kind of saying, all right, enough is enough, let the guy in. But I mean, if you want to see where gambling stands in baseball's do's and don'ts, the 8 men out for the Black Sox scandal, they're still not allowed in. And that happened back in 1919.
This is true.
So I mean, it depends. I mean, for the fan, I think Shoeless Joe Jackson should go in. It's ridiculous that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Then again, absolutely. I wasn't around in 1919. Nope, none of us.
I don't think we wasn't even a wink.
Nah, exactly. It's like some of our grandparents weren't even winks yet. So it's like okay.
So I think he should be allowed in, but apparently in baseball's rules of order, if you gamble, I mean that's it. It's slitting your own throat, really. But I think enough time has passed. I think the guy's taking his beatings and taking his lumps. I think he should be allowed in,
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to move on. I'm just going to say, I mean, if that's the case, then I'm pretty sure someone out there is going to argue that Tim Donahue should also be placed into the NBA Hall of Fame.
Stop.
But moving on!
Oh, I can't believe you
really just went there.
No, it's
I
too soon,
went there.
sir. Pete Pete served his 25, 30, whatever amount of years.
True.
Tim Donahue, he never.
Wait.
That guy.
Doctor
He was an
Flynn.
official.
Dr.
He's
Flynn.
terrible.
I know.
He's terrible.
But the reason
He
I'll
will
He's
never.
an official. He's the most outcome
Hold
on
on.
the
Hold on.
Ever be in the Hall of
I'm
Fame.
agreeing with you all.
No.
What I'm trying to say
See my
is the
finger in
way
your
that our
face? See my
society,
finger right there in
the
your
way
face?
the way that the society is now, the way that they act,
No.
they want to give everyone a pass.
None of those
So
referees.
that's what I'm saying.
None of those referees should be in the Hall of Fame. They're all bums. They need to go back wherever they came from. Let's try it again. They're all terrible. Because whenever LeBron.
So speaking of terrible,
Okay.
let's talk about the NBA summer.
Okay.
Let's talk about the NBA summer.
Free agency. Let's do a quick recap of what Mr. October feels about free agency so far. Then we'll go into
Let's
Russell
just do
Westbrook.
quick five here. Durant leaving the Thunder. How you feel?
Yay or nay?
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade leaving the Bulls.
Oh.
You mean leaving the Heat, going home?
I'm sorry. Yes, the doctor is tripping as I usually to the Bulls.
Don't worry about it. The professor always got your back. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Debates Among Friends tonight is brought to you by Not Your Father Ginger Ale from Small Town Brewery. They are the unofficial official sponsor of the show. We're still waiting for our patrons.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Call the doctor. Call the doctor. Listen, how you feel about Dwayne Wade going to Chi-Town?
Yay that he's going home because, I mean, come on, that's every kid's dream to play for their hometown team. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Nay on the
I'm still
fact.
waiting on Phil Jackson to call me for the Knicks. Just saying.
Dude, I'm still waiting for Brian Cashman to give me a tryout, but that's never going to happen. Nay on the fact that, I mean, he accomplished so much in Miami, and I mean, it's like one of those things. He could be the king of Miami forever. So I'm kind of torn on that. I'm torn that, good for you. You're going to go play for your hometown team. Then the other side, if I was a Miami fan, I mean, I get the loyalty and the distrust factor on that one.
This is true. Yay or nay on the Knicks signing Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah?
I was just about to go there.
Ugh.
I'm gonna start by saying this. Yay on them getting rid of that piss and
Eric Wallow. Oh my
Definitely,
god.
I'm not a Knicks fan, but I'll say yay on that one.
Oh my god.
Isn't that 3? You got 2 more, sir.
Good one, sir.
Hey, listen, the Knicks. They've been.
Yay or nay?
Let him finish though. Let him finish that one.
Well, it's gonna be 5. It's gonna be quick fire.
Finish it.
Okay, go for it.
You know what? I'll give the Knicks credit for literally trying to go in a different direction.
There you go. Okay, now
This Knicks fan appreciates it.
Ooh.
Number 4. Yay or nay? The Dallas Mavericks getting Andrew Bogut and Harrison Barnes.
No, that's a nay on that one.
All right. This. Can I do the last one, or you gonna do the last one?
Hopefully it's the same what I'm thinking, Doctor.
You go for it. Then you go for it.
Yay or nay? The Los Angeles Lakers with that big contract. You know who I'm talking about, Doctor. Timothy Mozgov.
That's not where I was gonna go with it, but maybe do a bonus. We'll do a bonus.
Okay, we'll do a bonus one. Go for it.
Go. What do you think about Mozgov?
I'm gonna say yay. I mean, he seems to have kind of excelled since he left the Knicks, and I'm sure the Knicks are kicking themselves for letting go of half the amount of talent that they've let go.
Absolutely.
But I think it's a yay. I mean, the Lakers are in a full rebuild mode for the first time, and that any of us can remember. I think it's a yay. I think the way sports are going, rarely do you see guys stay with one team anymore. I'm not saying that Mozgov is one of those guys, but it goes back to Rose and Wade. It's a players' league, and increasingly in different sports, it's going to become a players' sports world.
Absolutely.
Just a quick comment. Sad that Roy Hibbert has been replaced by Timothy Mozgov. A couple years ago, I would have never ever thought that.
I mean, a couple of years ago, we did a top 5.
And Roy was out there. Mozgov wasn't even on the list. We didn't talk about Mozgov.
I mean, someone had Al Horford, but
Hey, don't you start that.
But Doctor, bonus question. Go
question. Paul Gasol going to the Spurs.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's the Spurs. I think that's a yay.
Oh my God, isn't that crazy? But it's enough. That's the NBA free agency in a nutshell.
It is, and it's the Spurs. I mean, it's the Spurs, man. I mean, listen, everybody says they're boring. Everybody says they're not fun to watch and they're not a draw. But I mean, God, they win.
Really? Yeah.
Really? Because I think they're greatly entertaining. But then again, I have an old school mindset of how I approach basketball.
Here's why I'll disagree with you. I thought they were great to watch until they got LaMarcus Aldridge. Oh, I ain't gonna be honest with you. They were good. I loved watching them, and then they got LaMarcus Aldridge, and now I think their promise to him is messing up their flow because they're doing ISO.
I completely agree.
And that's where it's getting kind of whack now. So hopefully Paul Gasol helps them get back to wherever they were before.
That's a spot on point. That's a good job on you bringing that one up.
But let's talk about the big elephant in the room. I mean, we all know that Kevin Durant left to go to the Golden State Warriors. But the big news is, or lack thereof of news, is the turmoil between him and Russell Westbrook after he left.
It's true.
And the stories and the rumors and the grapevines and the dirt sheets about Russ being upset with KD because he didn't tell him that he was leaving. And then during that, OKC re-signed Russell Westbrook for an $85+ million contract for 3 years. Thoughts on that, sir?
Troy, you want to take this one and I'll follow up?
I mean, we talked about this last week, and I think we asked the question whether I think I brought the point whether it was one of those situations where, hey, if me and the professor were actually talking about going on an intramural team together, and I said, hey, I'm going to go play with you, and then he says, okay, and then I decide to go play with the team that just won the intramural league last year.
Right.
His response was, I'm just going to mark my calendar and say, I want to guard the doctor all game, and he's not going to score a point, which of course I disagreed with. But he said,
you should disagree with that one because the professor would completely demolish. But that's what I was saying.
So I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think there should be a loyalty in there for players? I mean, hey, we had lunch. You told me you were staying, and now here you are in California talking about how you were going to go there all along and how, now you want to win championships. Oh, I want to win championship with you. Why you ain't come back home?
This almost seems like a Facebook relationship post.
It
whole
really
ordeal
was.
Between the two of them. I mean, let's be honest. This isn't the first time we've seen this.
It's not. We just seen it last year.
Right. Exactly. To me, personally, completely candidly, I thought it was just a really, really bad move. Not for him personally. It's a great move for him. I mean, and at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. If you're a ball player, you want to go where you can win a championship, where you can make the most money, and in sports, it's like business. I mean, you try not to make it personal. At least that's what you tell yourself. But I think it was a bad look. It stunk to high heaven. I am so looking forward to when he goes back to Oklahoma City, see the reception he gets, and to just see, how much the fans are going to be in Westbrook's corner. I mean, anytime Westbrook gets the ball, they're going to go nuts.
And they did rebuild a team, and that's something that we talked about. They got Oladipo, and they got rid of what's his name? What's that power forward's name? Serge Ibaka. They brought in Sabonis' son. I mean, I think they're going to be a pretty good team. And that's why I was like, it kind of doesn't matter. They're probably going to play better without KD because it's going to be centered around Russ, who's so electrifying and high-paced that I feel like he's going to lead them on an MVP tear, which
we already said that he's going to be MVP.
Yeah, he's going to run on an MVP tear. He's going to try to destroy the league next year.
Listen, Oklahoma City's going to be just fine. Golden State is just ridiculous now. I mean,
yes.
The one problem,
Golden State is like is like if you play 2K.
Oh yeah.
And you turn up all the restrictions on like trade and whatnot, and you build your city.
Override that.
That's what Golden State is.
Override that right now. But the one thing, and the only thing Oklahoma had to do, only thing I thought they had to do, Kevin Durant didn't have to leave. The only thing they had to do was get rid of Dion Waiters. That was it. Dion Waiters. That's it. You get rid of Dion Waiters, you're good. But we want to make sure we're good on time here because we do have, of course, a song of the day. So the next topic, going back to baseball, was...
Hold on.
Uh-oh. He struck the pose for Tim Tebow news.
Tim Tebow has decided to forego his football dreams and take his talents to the MLB.
The boyhood dream becomes a reality. So,
oh my God,
Mr. Knapp, what are your initial thoughts about Tim Tebow shifting gears and wanting to play baseball again because he played baseball before?
How long ago?
For real?
A while ago. It was a while ago.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. Baseball is completely different from football, basketball, and to a large extent, hockey. It's.
Well, I mean, it's not like we didn't have any other two sport athletes.
But no. Really, but I mean, it's so incredibly rare. And Tim Tebow wasn't really that good at football, at least in the professional sense.
Not in the systems that he were a part of. I completely agree with that. I mean, he would have just had to. He would have just had to. I mean, he would have just needed, freaking all of the Florida Gators coaching staff to just come with him. You know what I mean? Right. Bring Urban Myers with you. That would have been the only way he would have been successful, but it just didn't.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, who said it? One of the Orioles, he pretty much summed it up. He tweeted, oh my goodness, I am drawing.
Wasn't it Adam Jones?
Yeah, where it was kind of like an offhanded tweet. He kind of just said, oh great, yeah, and I'm just gonna go start, for the Baltimore Ravens or something. It makes the same level of sense. Baseball is a skill-based game. You can be very athletic. Yes. You could be. I mean, look at Michael Jordan, for example.
True.
You could be extremely athletic, but if you don't have that specific skill set, that specific eye-hand coordination, it's not going to work. And it's almost an insult. It's almost an insult to any Major League Baseball player that has fought through the minors, through their whole career. Baseball is one of the toughest sports to make it in pro.
Or that tweet. After this MLB season, I'm going to try out for the NFL this offseason. I haven't played since high school, but I've played in a few turkey bowls since.
Right.
And for those people who don't know who turkey bowls are, that's when before you go eat for Thanksgiving, a group of guys go out to the park and play some tackle football to build up your hunger for that Thanksgiving meal, just for the people out there.
And as a big
shout out to all the fans out there as well too, doing that stuff too. It's always fun.
Oh, always, it's a blast. But I'm a big Adam Jones fan. I admire him a lot, and I think that tweet sums it up. I mean, it's just ridiculous to think that he's gonna put on a show and have all these different teams come down and watch him, and because he's hitting a BP fastball, all of a sudden he's gonna be able to play at Yankee Stadium or Dodger Stadium or Fenway Park and hit a hellacious curve being thrown by a guy that's been doing it since he was 15 years old.
Agreed.
8 years old.
All I
hope is Yankees, you know that we love you. Don't pick up Tim Tebow.
Anybody who picks him up, it would literally be for tickets.
It might be a team that's just trying to get more.
That's the only team that pick him up. Only teams that pick him up. You think the Patriots, the Jets, the Broncos? It was for ticket prices. I mean, yeah, he competed for a spot
for jersey sales.
Yeah, jersey sales. That is it. I mean, that lefty, he just doesn't got it, and I mean that's okay. Sometimes you don't got it.
I will put out I'm going to put this APB out to all Major League Baseball teams. I'm a Yankee fan specifically to my team, and I don't think we're in that type of a mode yet. Don't be that guy or girl that is stuck at the bar at the end of the night looking for someone to go home with. Tim Tebow is not that guy, and if you pick him,
no horseman.
You have serious beer goggles on.
Oh my goodness.
Mr. October dropping the hammer.
Oh, it's going.
On the people.
Go. Mr. October with the home run.
I mean, right now the chat is going insane. They're saying, Mr. October, tell the truth. Tell them. Because they deserve it. Because Tim Bumbo. What? Bumbo?
Plezzo.
Okay, guy, Plez, first of all.
I mean,
But
hello.
yeah, completely agree with that.
Man. But the last topic, guys, I mean, this is something that's pretty interesting. It popped up on my ticker as I was headed back home to North Carolina again. Trent Richardson cut by the Ravens. But there wasn't the cut that was the highlight of the article. Apparently, his family spent $1.5 million in a month, and he said his heart was to blame for this spending. What are your thoughts on that? First of all, how does he keep getting these jobs? Anybody can answer that. How does he get these jobs? And you've seen the videos of him not even going close to the hole. I don't know if I should say it like that. Maybe I should rephrase. He just wasn't doing his job. We're not going to talk about
not finding the crease in the tackles. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah,
there you go.
not finding the crease in the tackles, the guards, the center. Whatever you want to say, he's just not finding it. And I mean,
follow block.
It's like you can't be a power runner. Like, you've been doing this all your life. How do you get to this point now? And now all of a sudden, it's like you forgot. He should be tested for some kind of drugs.
I mean, he only had one good season. That was his rookie season.
And I thought he was on his way. There was no way he would have told me that he wasn't going to be a good football player, except for Jim Brown. Jim Brown somehow knew that he wasn't going to be good. But I mean, sometimes some of the older generations, they be tripping. Sometimes a couple of haters.
What we got here?
My question is, can I be like an adopted cousin? I mean, can I get on some of that
action?
I
would have.
But the key point about the article, though, all jokes aside, is
$5 million, bro.
I mean, we've seen this with athletes before. There was a 30 for 30 about people who made so much money. It was a great 30 for 30 out there. It's called Broke. Watch it if you haven't seen it yet. It is great. It'll change your...
Shout out to ESPN for those 30 for 30s. Those are phenomenal.
Yes.
Was Antoine Walker on this?
Yes, he was.
I figured he would be on there.
He was on there. There's a lot of people on there.
Because he made a lot of money.
Again,
he made a stupid amount of money. And that's so crazy.
He played in the D League.
Oh my god. And I mean, Trent Richardson didn't make that much money.
Exactly.
I wouldn't I only let people hold $20. $1.5 million.
Like a Dream City guy.
Well, and it wasn't even just the fact that he gave them money. People was using his information to buy stuff for themselves as well too. Oh. And once again, we've seen the same pattern with a lot of people. And the doctor mentioned this before off the podcast. Sometimes you just have to let those people go.
You got to change your circle.
They could be your best friend in the whole world. They could be your cousins. They could be your, wife, your whatever. It could even be your mother and father, and they conceived you.
Right there.
But if you feel like you're getting taken advantage of, you have to cut them off. Because it's not good for you. It's not good for your finances. And once it's gone, it's gone. You don't get that back. There's no reset button.
No, he's done.
Trust me, if it was, it would be called a Nintendo.
No, he's done.
But there's no reset
He's going to probably make his way to the Arena or Canadian League because I don't think anybody else is going to pick him up. I mean, there's going to have to be a really, really desperate team out there that needs a running back, which I don't think that's going to happen because I think running backs, for the most part, with the exception of maybe like the Jets, I feel like the Jets might need a... Nah, that's not gonna work.
Maybe
that's not gonna.
Maybe he'll go on the Bills.
Nah, I think it's
gonna
be Canadian. He's going to Canada League. That's it. They're gonna take him because they, those teams are always looking for somebody. Arena, he can definitely pick up there, but he's gonna find out himself right back there with some semi-pro team like Josh Freeman was trying to do to come back. I don't know what happened to him either, but Trent Richardson, you get the plus of the day.
I'll tell you, this just speaks to what I've always felt these teams need to have financial advisors for these guys. You have guys that in a lot of sports, majority of sports, they come from poor backgrounds, some uneducated, some their parent, they basically raised themselves. And these guys are getting all this money for the first time, and it would be a lot to handle for anybody. And it's even worse when you have friends and family that leech off you, take advantage of you, and know you're a kind, good-natured soul, and they ride that till the wheels fall off. And
absolutely.
And I mean, let's be honest. This doesn't happen with people in sports. It happens in life in general. It happens to regular people every day. But obviously, because these people are marquee and they're in the public eye, they're unfortunately their poor choices, or I shouldn't say poor choices, but unfortunately they're the people they surround themselves with. Right. It really should be a lesson to everybody. And with guys like Trent Richardson, I mean, you just hope that they somehow, come out of it. And personally, for a person like that, that's got to be a very lonely feeling.
Absolutely. You've played all this time, yeah.
Right, but by your own flesh and blood.
Yeah.
I mean, for most of us, our families are rock. They're the one people in a really cold, cruel world we can always turn to. And they'll always be there no matter what. And for those of us that have excellent circles of friends, that's another layer. But it's really unfortunate. I mean, I read that, and a lot of people laugh at guys like that. And to be honest, I really feel bad, because he always seems to be a really good-natured guy.
It's really sad. I mean, it sounds like the perfect premise for the show Ballers. I mean, with the Rock's character going out there and being a financial advisor, because he knows, and it would take an NFL guy to do that. I mean, that's a tough one.
Listen, you get the money and the women and the success thrown at you very quickly, and I mean, I don't think any of us would be able to handle that gracefully. It takes
it would be strategic.
It takes a very special person with a really good supporting cast of family and friends and loved ones to make it through, because no man is an island, and so nobody gets through that on their own.
Oh, absolutely. So, well, I mean, we are definitely running a little low on time. Any last thoughts, Professor?
Not really. Just want to thank Mr. October for coming out
here,
laying down some hammers.
October!
Mr. Knapp, do you have a Twitter handle for the people to follow you on?
It's actually Rob Naps. That's my Twitter handle.
All right, catch him out on there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. He'll definitely be on again soon.
Yeah,
whenever his schedule clears up.
Yeah, this was a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in to Debates Among Friends. I am the Professor.
And this is the Doctor.
And we'll leave you off with a good old track from an artist named Megaran from the Language Arts album called Good to Me, featuring Writers Guild. And we'll catch you again next week. Peace and love.
So good to me, yeah. So good to me, yeah.
I understand the complicated relationship. Problems may evolve and hatred culminates and quick from a disordination addition to a conscious state of changes. Evolvers race get harder to predict. Salacious and ratio wise as an Ayatollah. Bipolar but I adore her. Bipolar but I abhor her. But life ain't right if I ignore her. I had known her since the road was big. She had Jamaicans kicking in the doors of cribs. But after immortalizing characteristics don't make it a person. In fact, personification was causing my ego to worsen. So much evident, invested time. Records get possessive line. Pocket full of loose change, the loose paid, but that's fine. No matter which way it goes, can at least say I turned a hobby to a job, into a trade, and never strayed from goals. It ain't dedication till you plot to change the course. It's like it ain't a relationship till you contemplate divorce.
It's unconditional and way deeper than physical. I'm missing you, you're so good to me. Yeah, you got that good love, so I just couldn't budge, no matter what. Good to me. Yeah. Even when I mistreat you, show off in front of people. I need you. So good to me. Yeah. So let me get it straight. I'm learning to reciprocate. I'm feeling great. So good to me.
Consequence for this rapper's life, forced to live a faster life. Simple-minded rappers, I'ma force them all to pass the mic. Messing up the culture, now they sounding like some fuck boys. Turn off the radio, the production is a bunch of noise. Trying to find some balance, used to listen for some talent. Man, just listen to your lyrics and I'm surprised you're not embarrassed. This shit is overwhelming, smelling bad like some rotten food. Couldn't make it sound better if the flow was chopped and screwed. I never said I hate rap, and that's a real fact. Got me through some tough times when everything was turning black. Just hate it when it's done wrong. Same topic every song. Hip-hop is a culture where some people don't belong, but we gotta keep it strong, another generation long. And that's the mission of an MC on every single song. So I'ma leave it with a promise, yo, I pledge to keep it honest. Even if the truth is brolic, gotta spit it with some logic.
It's unconditional and way deeper than physical. I'm missing you, you're so good to me. Yeah, you got that good love, so I just couldn't budge, no matter what. Good to me. Yeah. Even when I mistreat you, show off in front of people, I need you. Good to me. Yeah. So let me get it straight, I'm learning to reciprocate. I'm feeling great. Good to me. Yeah.
My relationship with hip-hop is bipolar, cause I'm left and hated. Ever since I had a white folder back in elementary, had more bars than a penitentiary. The shit and tears, thinking of the memories of when it used to be great. Bumping each tape these days, the rappers only goes to have more money than me Gates. Instead of making classics, no one's getting drastic, no one has drive. This shit's important like Jurassic. Searching for the W, my man said, Dad, don't let it trouble you. Chill, see what that light at the end of the tunnel do. Listening to radio, bugging like you kidding me? About to throw a tantrum, must be the kid in me. Cause I dismiss the glory days, just my founder Robert Horry plays. But this is me, I'm hoping that my story stays. Cause I'm a fan of hip-hop, that's first and foremost. We got a bomb, but I'm just wishing we were more close.
It's unconditional and way deeper than physical. I'm missing you, you're so good to me. Yeah, you got that good love, so I just couldn't budge, no matter what. Good to me. Yeah. Even when I mistreat you, show off in front of people, I need you. Good to me. Yeah. So let me get it straight, I'm learning to reciprocate. I'm feeling great. Good to me. Yeah. With me throughout my ups and downs, you have always stuck around. Looking back, I was a clown, running on the love we found. And I almost stopped the music, but you told me I was foolish and convinced me not to do it. So now I shall rock with you in. You're thick and thin like Christian Alley. No one on this earth could doubt me. Told me how to